So, what about now? Take two. Yeah, so, what a trip, huh? My whole router stopped. Like I was just talking about, the router reset. So I'm sitting here talking along, and all of a sudden, I'm 2 minutes in the future, remember? And all of a sudden, I see the whole thing, the video and everything go dead, and then I hear my router clicking. It did a reset just now. Again, just like that. Like, what is that, man? I mean, seriously, that is not cool. Okay, so, hi, Brown Dwarf. Hey, man, you have some cool videos. I really like them, and that really is a face I saw in the video. That's pretty cool. Hi, Connie and Amanda, and Amanda. Yeah. So, I hardly even can remember where I was now. You know? Yeah, I made it back. Can you believe it? The router quit on me. For those that are just now clicking back in, so sorry about that. I can't control that part. It's ATT. And I'm not sure how long I'm going to stick with them if I keep having problems. I'll be switching to their nemesis, Comcast. And they're my nemesis as well. I don't like Comcast. That's why I have ATT. But I'm beginning to not like ATT almost as much as I don't like Comcast. Isn't that something? Yeah, so I went out on my little trip, and I have another one planned here towards the end of the week. I'm going to go up to a different place, and I'm going to bring some more video back, and hopefully with more in it. But you know how it is, like the where I brought you this video from. It's been a long time since I've been in that area. Probably, I don't know, 6 or 8, maybe 9 years since I've been over there. So I haven't been working in that area. I've been going where Jeffrey wants to go all the time. And I mean, I understand why, because where we've been going, it has we've been getting activity like crazy. And usually we don't, when you first go into an area, it takes a little while to kind of figure out where you should be at in the area, and once you figure that out, anyone can figure it out, you guys. Anyone can figure it out, okay? Once you do figure it out, though, they'll pretty much come to you. There's just a few things you have to do, and finding Bigfoot does some of those things. And I know everybody thinks it's funny, and it was like the not finding Bigfoot show, but it had some of the best stories, and I think they brought more awareness to the Bigfoot thing. The only thing that I would say on that is everybody caution. So like when you do figure out where the Bigfoots are, or the Squatches are in your area, like you figure out the Squatch zone in your neighborhood, go with caution. Don't go in there thinking they're going to be all nice. You might run into some nice ones, and you might run into some really mean ones that have only one thing on their mind, and that's dinner, And usually if they're the ones that have dinner on their mind, those people don't come back. They're in the missing 411 book. Or they're like candidates for the missing 411 book. So, don't mess around. Too bad. So we went out and I had a lot more video, but only it was like I could only show you so many dead trees and so many down trees and so many beautiful picturesque creek shots, and so many pictures of poison ivy and poison oak and stuff. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really anything to show, so but only I promised I would show something, so I put that together. But then here Friday, I'm gonna go out again. I don't know where. It's gonna be a surprise. One of the people that follow me on YouTube and is a friend. I mean, he started following at Paranormal Central, and he lives locally. I'm gonna let him pick. He's gonna pick me up. We're gonna go in his ride on his dime. So it's gonna be a surprise, and it'll be a surprise for you guys and me. So I'm kind of excited. Yeah. So now since my router reset, I'm doing great, right? The chat is going fine. I'm not like doing anything weird. Okay, I'm loving it. Yeah, well, I brought a show and tell thing. Well, first I wanted to say hi to Christina, and I'm wearing your shirt, Christina. It's my favorite shirt, and it's so much my favorite shirt that I don't like to wear it too much because I don't want to mess up the squatch on the back. I don't know if I can get that in the shot or not. Let me see. You guys see that? But it's that's the oh, I guess my hair's in the way. That's actually the painting that's the image that's on the rock, the painted rock, the Thule Reservation. And Christina gave me this really cool shirt, and I try not to wear it because I don't want to mess it up. Oh, I'm all tangled up. I don't want to mess up my shirt. But then, see, when I worked at the casino, I gave away a lot of shirts. And a lot of them were tied to an event that only happened only once. And I would only make a run of like say 10,000 shirts, and I would go to the football games or baseball games or basketball games, whatever I was sponsoring at the time. And you've seen those T-shirt shooter things, big old giant T-shirt shooters that would shoot the T-shirt into the audience. At first, we were throwing them, but somebody showed me the cool, boom, boom T-shirt popper thing that would pop them out there. So I started doing that, but I collected all the T-shirts. So, I would wear one, and then one I put away. Well, a few years ago, I dug into my drawer where I had all the shirts, and like a lot of the white ones are all stained, and where the crease was, they were kind of messed up, and I mean, it was like the shirts were deteriorating, even though I had them all bagged and everything. I don't know what happened. So now I wear my shirts, all of them. If they're gonna wear out, they're gonna wear out like on me. Yeah. So how much of the dead trees is bark beetle we've had? And you know what? I don't know about that in Washington. All I know is that in Washington, you're losing fir trees. And then I heard earlier somebody wrote me and said that there's some kind of oak fungus or something over there. So you guys are losing your oaks and your fir trees. Fir trees are huge over there. I mean, that's a lot. Um, what I do know is this for deforestation thing that's going on, the killing of the trees or the dying of the trees is not like just my area. That's what I do. What I do know is it goes up California, Washington, Oregon, Canada, Alaska. I mean, and the problem with trees is they take a long time to grow. Okay, like longer than most plants. So it takes them longer to die. So if something is killing them, the damage could have started, a while back, and we're just now, like seeing what happened. You know what I mean? It's almost like they're living in the future, kind of like, or they they get the damage and they start dying, but we don't see the actual result of the damage for a while because of how long it takes them to grow. It doesn't show the damage for a long time too. You know what I mean? I mean, they die slow, they grow slow, they die slow. Not very often you see them dying really really fast. Yeah, see, and I actually believe that it is the chemtrails. Um, I have some friends that are into testing water and things like that in the soil, and they're finding aluminum in the soil. They're finding a lot of aluminum in the root system, and what seems to be happening is the trees that are dying first are the faster growing trees. So we're seeing the result of them dying first because they're the faster ones and they suck up a lot of water, and they're sucking up the aluminum and it's actually clogging the roots. So they're not getting the water. And then that puts a stress on the tree, which makes it vulnerable to the bark beetle, and then the bark beetle finishes it off. Right. It would die anyways eventually from lack of water, but once it's stressed and it's on its way out, then everything can, get to it. And I'm not sure about, this is just my area. I don't know, but I do know like the bark beetle, for instance, is a high protein, and I find a lot of bare scat, and it's just packed full of beetles. And you find these trees with the bark all ripped off of it, and they're the bears are getting in there and eating it. And I figure the Squatch are doing the same thing. They're probably ripping these trees and maybe even knocking a lot of them down, you know what I mean, so they could get to them. And even though I know they can climb them, that's another thing that a lot of people don't know. When you're out in the woods, I mean, Matthew Johnson says they're in the trees, right? Well, he thinks they're inside the trees. They could be. I don't know. But I do know they're in the trees. Like, look up. You know what I mean? They could be in the tree looking at you. I've heard lots of stories of them being in the trees. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know like how bad this is gonna be. We're barely like I think I just started noticing the trees dying like maybe a year or so ago, like where you could see whole sections of forest all dead for miles. I'm not talking about little patches. I'm talking about thousands of square miles. I mean, you could get on a mountain peak here, and everywhere you look, if they haven't cut them out, it's excuse me, bad meds. You can look and you see brown patches like that go a mile or 2 miles or something like that. It's really, really, really bad. But, but yeah, um, I also brought I brought something to share. This is what I was getting to right when I heard my router clicking. This is what my wife is giving away. She makes these even littler ones. Can you believe that? That she can make smaller ones than this. This is for little babies, and they give them to they donate them to the hospital for the little babies. And this one, she says she didn't really like the color of it, but I think it's appropriate for this. It's fall, Thanksgiving. I think it's a good color. But she says, yeah, these. She makes these for the babies. You just see the other ones that are like, that big for like the preemies, little babies. But I thought I would share that. She's always coming in and checking on me, and I thought, hey, let me have that. I want to show what you're doing. But I thought that was cool. So, yeah, so I'm looking forward to this trip out on Friday. I don't know where it's going to be, so I could tell you like what anything more about it. But there is something else, um, that I wanted to talk about. I keep looking at chat, but I want to interact with them. Okay, I want to interact with you guys. You know, yeah, that was something I cut out of my. Speaking of dung beetles, that was something I cut out of my video. A lot of everywhere we went, these loggers are shitty. Okay, I'm serious. At first when I came across like this toilet paper all over the place, scattered everywhere, I was thinking, man, what nasty campers. Yuck. But then as we went down the road, everywhere we stopped, there was toilet paper behind almost every pine tree. It was like, what in the world? Like, and then, I thought, okay, wait a minute. I'm not seeing the porta potties. Like, these guys should be dragging a porta potty around with them because they are making a nasty, shitty mess around. You guys hear that, you loggers? If any of you, around up by Blue Canyon and by Pine Flat, you know, either that or bury it better, okay? Like take a shovel and dig a hole and put it away so it isn't all over the place. I mean, it's nasty. Please, please put it away. Like bury it, okay? Okay. I hope they heard that because, man, it was nasty. It was crap. Crappy. Yeah. We need some dung beetles over here to clean up after the logging guys. Yeah, that's what we need. So like I wanted to get a little bit off of the Squatch thing. I think everything's related. Everything. I think Squatch are related to aliens, and aliens are related to demons, and demons are related to Squatches and people. Even like. But only lately, I've been hearing a lot of these weird alien stories about what their version, like now I've read 3 different versions of how we got created and why we're here. And we're always really special. We have something that nobody has, not even the aliens or anything. And that's why they're so interested, really. Like this last one I read, the girl said that Marduk. I don't know if if you guys do any kind of research, but it had Enki and Marduk, and like the research I read, I've done mostly those are the same person. It's not 2 different people. It's the same person, just only in different languages. That was the name they gave him. He actually had a few more, Nimrod, Enki, Marduk, and supposedly it's all the same guy. Yeah, Anunnaki. Yeah, well, so Enki, God told him that he could no longer consume the souls of the humans so that he could have immortality that he doesn't have, but we do have. See, we're special. We have immortality, that we live forever, but we actually only get 9 tries, like the 9 lives thing. Like, so if you don't get it right, you come back and you can do that. They said 10 tries, right? But really your 10th one is a no-go, you know what I mean? If you don't make it on that one. So really it's like the 9 lives or 10 lives or whatever you want to. So Enki, he said he wanted to stay on the earth. Only God, who in this version is it doesn't have a gender or anything, so they call it a it or a it or the one. And he was lonely, and he split himself. Okay, so he split himself, and he made another one of him that was absolutely the same as him, except for he made him just a little bit lower than him because he was lonely. And that one turned out to be the one we know as Satan. Because once Satan helped him create the universe and the planets and all this stuff, then he realized that he got duped, that he should be equal with it, or the one, or whatever name they're calling him this week. So he went off on his own, and he split himself equally into six. Are we seeing a pattern yet? Like six, really? Six. And they call him, the aliens call him the six-headed beast. Six-headed beast. That is so trippy. Yeah. Well, and he's not really even the bad guy doing anything on the planet, right? So this Inky, he decides he wants to stay on the planet because he figured he didn't tell the other Anunnakis that he could eat souls of human, that when we die, he could catch the soul and consume it, and that would extend his life. So as long as he could do that, he could be immortal. He could be like us. I mean, I have a hard time with this stuff, but so he does. And but only one of the rules is the one showed up, and he was mad because of how, I mean, not really real mad, but he was like wanting to be fair, he's like, what are you doing to my other creations, and they were honest, they told him. And Marduk, he was only here for the sex, right? That's he was just here for the women. That's it, and Inky, he was only here for that and the souls, and his job was to actually to collect gold. Well, he said that he could stay, but only then the whatever said, you can stay, but only from now on you guys can't show yourself anymore. So no more landing in City Park, or that's not ever going to happen. We always say, I won't believe in aliens till they land on the Capitol lawn. Well, the whatever his name is this year, he said they can't show themselves anymore. So Inky was like, man, he had one last time. One of their powers was they could change into anything. Like Marduk changed into a human. So, and for a long time, he fooled Inky, supposedly, in this story. But then he figured out Inky had this plan and was like being immortal. So then he went in there and he threatened him with something, and they made a plan where they worked together then. But Marduk, he just changed into a human, and that was nobody's ever going to see him again in his form, his real form. And nobody's going to see Inky again in his form. Because Inky in his last little they need gold, supposedly because their planet is in danger, and the only thing that could save them is a certain kind of gold, a certain kind. So Inky changes himself into an embryo. I bet you know where I'm going with that. He changes himself into an embryo, and then he has a really big family on Earth where, they've created all these soulless people that are leaders and are rulers, and, they're very rich elites. Well, they're all the offspring, supposedly, of these Inky and Marduk, and they don't have a soul like we do, and they're not immortal. When they die, supposedly, okay? Well, he put his embryo into one of his offspring, into his family lineage, and named Mary. And then he came back as a human named Jesus. Well, he didn't last long, did he? You know. So, like, that's what I don't get. Like, okay, so if he wanted to live forever, what? Why did he, his last time that he could change himself? Why would he go into, do that, and then have, was it Marduk's family killed him? I don't know why would, and then his family line killed him. The rulers and the leaders of the day and all that. The rulers of the world and the religious rulers killed him. I mean, the whole thing doesn't. It stinks to high heaven. It is not true. That's one of the things I was telling you about. Aliens. They never tell the truth, okay? And I don't believe Bigfoots tell the truth either. Yeah. Okay, so I see a hey Alan. Hey, fire dude. What, are you not in bed, man? Usually you're in bed by now. But yeah, I don't know what to think. Like, this is like maybe the fourth story that I've heard where they distort. They kind of stay, like in the lines of what religious people think. Or I'm not putting myself in the religious thing either. Okay, like, I'm not like a church guy, and so I don't want to put myself into, say I'm a this or I'm a that, religion or anything. I'm I'm just saying I'm a believer. Just like I know there's a Sasquatch, I know there's a Jesus, and I know he wasn't inky. Okay. And just like I know there's a Sasquatch and I know there's a Jesus and he's not inky, I know that when we die, we go to another place and we live forever because I went there too. What I'm wondering is, like, if they say so many lies, so like, how could we know the truth? You know what I mean? Like, how do you find the truth? What's the real truth? It's like even going after the Sasquatch. I mean, hey, what's happening, man? Texas, huh? Yeah, it's late night tonight, man. We're late night. Yeah, so like with Sasquatches, it runs the gamut from apes to like Neanderthals to and this is what I don't get about it. Okay, like, even though they claim that they don't eat meat and all this stuff, I've over the years found evidence of them eating meat and have eyewitnesses of them carrying pigs away and chickens and deer and I found this place over by an apple orchard up in the hills where there was all kinds of deer legs, right? I never found the rest of the deer. I just found only some legs. Legs. That's it. And it took me a while to figure out what was going on there. And I knew it was Sasquatch, though, because all the rest of the signs were there. You know what I mean? It was the reports, looking through people's windows. I found tracks, big tracks too. It was on the migration route that I talk about. And I couldn't figure out, like, why would, like, a deer leg be here or there. Like deer legs. Like, I was finding them around everywhere. And I think I figured out what is up with the deer leg thing. I think when they get hungry and they go out hunting, they take the leg off, and then they could just throw the deer down right there and throw the leg over there. The deer is not going anywhere, but it's not going to die either. You know what I mean? It's going to be alive. So they could go and get however many deer they need to feed their clan, or whatever you want to call them, tribe or whatever. And but when they go back to pick up the deer, it's still good and fresh because it's alive and breathing still. And I think that's why they pull the leg off. But I'm not sure if they make fire. You know what I mean? And cook them. I think they don't. So now, if they're like supposedly mind speaking and woo wooing and transdimensional and all this stuff, then why would they not cook too? You know what I mean? Like, it seems like they're more far advanced than we are. You'd think they would cook the food, maybe. I don't know. Just some thoughts, I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. That's why I don't think anyone really knows. Nobody really knows. I mean, that's why it's so easy to say Jesus didn't exist, or the Bible is all wrong, man messed with it, or the aliens they're the real thing and they're coming to save us. I don't know what to think. All I know is like how much research I do and my own experiences, and I think that's what everybody goes on. But sometimes I think people stop. They see. I don't know if they do. I know, like, do Bigfoot live in nuclear family units? Sometimes, yes. And sometimes I find little bitty tracks. And what I found is the big ones step on the little ones' tracks, or the little ones try to step into the big ones' tracks. So it's hard to find the little ones' tracks. You really got to know what you're doing in tracking, unless they make mistakes, okay, and or they think they're safe and they don't have to watch where their tracks are, because you can get in an area where the little ones are running free and they're not stepping in the parents' tracks, and the parents aren't stepping in their tracks, and I'm not even sure if it's parents. You know what I mean? Like, it could be the alien just dropped another container with some kind of a spirit being in it that can't interact with our world unless it's in the Bigfoot. I don't know. I mean, when you start talking about interdimensionality and all that stuff, like being able to like fade out and in and out, phase in, or whatever you call it, of our reality into a different. I mean, it calls into like a million things could be going on. You know what I mean? Like, and how do you make sense of that? I don't know. Yeah, but that's what Arlo's right. That's what the Anunnaki need around Nibiru. And I think aliens are scary too, and I think they may be containers as well. That's why I said containers on the Bigfoot, because when people talk about aliens, they're never a gender. You know what I mean? They're all bald. They all look the same. Actually, they're all the same size. They all have the same eyes, the same color eyes. They all have the same color skin. They all have the same color little suits. The only ones that have different genders are the ones that look like us, that they say are and I don't even know what to think about that. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. I wish I did. That's what makes this so cool for me. Like, it gives all kinds of ideas to talk about, because You could go off in any direction on down any rabbit hole, and you could be. Some people think you're right. You know what I mean? Like that's what they believe. And then I could go down a different rabbit hole, and all the people that liked me and thought I was right on the last rabbit hole, they'll all hate me now because I'm in the other rabbit hole. But then all the other people that like that rabbit hole, they'll all like me, you know? And I could keep doing that for days. Like, I could play it safe, even with Sasquatch, and, stick to the one thing that, that most everybody believes, and I could play it safe like that. But I'm not in it to play it safe. I'm in it to find out the truth, and I'm going to keep on going out there all the time and try to find it out. And hopefully you guys do too, and you go out and in your area and gather, and then we share all these things instead of like saying, okay, I got my spot and all this is going on. No, you know what? Share everything, because we need to know. If we're going to know what we're dealing with, we need to know, right? And one of the first rules is don't believe them. You know what I mean? Don't believe everything they tell you. Make sure that for a fact it's true. And I know that's going to be hard because but we don't know. So all we could go by is their actions, just like us, like people can lie for a little while, but pretty soon they give themselves away by their actions, because actions speak louder than their words. And pretty soon you'll start noticing the way they are and the way they talk and the way they act and everything, and you'll start figuring the person out. The thing with the Bigfoot is they're harder, they're elusive. So like getting information like family unit and stuff like that, some people say they are, and they've been hanging with them for years, and they're nice and stinky still, but nice. But only some of those say they don't speak to him with mind speak. But then some, met him, and they go through portals and they mind speak and they do all this stuff. And and then some people say they're pretty, and they look good and all that. And then some of them say they're ugly, and I don't know, and then some have snouts and some don't have snouts. And like some have ears like this. I've even heard of some that have ears like a dog like that, and the other ears like Chimera or something like that, Like, I don't know. It's just something to think about. And I am on my I've been at it for a long time, and I figured out a few things. Like, I know that they can't, like when you see Finding Bigfoot knock on the trees, if there's some of them around, I don't know why, but they can't resist knocking back. If they're there, they'll knock. Like a rock knocking. If you hear it, and then you do the knocking back, they can't handle it. They got to knock back. If you're whistling and your whistling isn't that great, like my whistling, and one's around there, it's almost like he's correcting you with a whistle. Like he'll whistle better than you. He'll do the exact same whistle and do it better. So I figured those things out. And I also figured out that they're superhuman. I noticed that in the very, very first sighting. In fact, that is one of the things that almost kept me from going back out looking for him, was the very first encounter, seeing what they were capable of and how big they were and how fit they were, and then how smart they were. Like, they knew they could use trees and stuff like that, and they can get behind a tree and then run away from me, and I wouldn't see which. Like, I didn't know they went away. You know what I mean? They went behind the tree, and I kept thinking they were there behind the tree. Well, he was long gone. Maybe not real far, but he was far enough away where I would never ever get close to him again. You know? Yeah, all you guys that live in the woods, I feel sorry for you. I used to live in the mountains, so I know exactly. Like, I would lay and stare at my window and not sleep. I would just be staring at the window. And we didn't have curtains on the window. We were so poor, we didn't have curtains. So I would lay there and just stare at the curtains. Oh my God, he's coming in. Actually, it wasn't because we were poor. It's because we lived where nobody could see in the window. So we didn't put curtains. I mean, we were living in the middle of nowhere. But there was other things, out there. And when I learned about Bigfoot, then it was on, man. Me in the window spent a lot of nights looking at each other. Yeah. Yeah, so you heard the aliens only take soft tissue from animals because they don't have mouths. They rub it on their skin to absorb it. I heard if you read the Dulce papers, in the 7th or 8th level under Dulce, or however you say that. Man, I wish I had a wood burning stove. In Dulce, they had tanks and they had cages of people lined up, like 5 stack high, almost like dog kennels or something like that. But it was just little cages, and they had people in them, and they would chop up the people and put them in the tank, and it was always stirring it or something. I don't know if it had to be cooked or whatever. All I know is that one of the things, it had to be fear. They had to be scared to death. You know what I mean? Like scared to death. Because that put the fear thing inside of them, and that gave the aliens a buzz. They got like a high off of it, off of the fear, adrenaline or whatever it is that we make when we are afraid. They love that. It's like a drug. At least that's what they say. And then they soak in these tubs and they soak the stuff through their skin. That I heard the same thing on that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it, light beams and stuff. In fact, the guy I went with up uh, on our little field trip with, he has been abducted by aliens a few times, and that was one of the reasons we went that way. Is it'd been a long time since he went up there, and he wanted to like show me some of the places where these things happened, and I wanted to do like, a little interview and stuff like that, but he wasn't into that. I mean, he's not ready for that. But he told me like stories of when, like, with his girlfriend and with his ex-wife, and like he likes to go to the mountains like I do. And what was weird is, it's a wonder that we didn't run into each other, and it's a wonder I didn't have some of the same things happening to me that he had happen. Like, I mean, we're all down the same stretch of road there, as we were growing up, and it was kind of interesting. And he gave me when you get to talk to people that have these experiences and stuff, that's what I think. That's why I think finding Bigfoot was so cool, because you get to hear other people's experience, and sometimes it doesn't line up, like their description doesn't line up with what you saw or what you experienced, but that doesn't mean they didn't see or experience anything. It just means that there's more to these things than we understand, you know. And I think they're almost like people, you know. Like I was sitting in Walmart the other day thinking about that, you know, and my wife and everybody is shopping, and I'm watching all these people, and really, I mean, I'm only talking about one Walmart out of 3,000 something Walmarts or whatever, and it's like the second of the month or something. So I mean, it's packed full of people, and but I'm looking at all these people, and there's all sizes, colors, um, ages, and then there's the social classes. You know what I mean? Like some, you know, were driving the Benz, you know, and then some were driving the '98 Toyota. Yeah, and you know, some were designer clothes, and some were, you know, your Levi's, and some were even like you didn't even know what to call it, you know. But you know, I was thinking, man, if the Bigfoot are anything like we are, then there's big ones, and I mean, there's a variety. There has to be a variety. You know what I mean? If they're too, I don't know what you would call it, alike, or like when you see a German Shepherd, you know what I mean? You're like a German Shepherd, but then you see a Chihuahua, it's like a Chihuahua. You know, and Chihuahuas make Chihuahuas, and German Shepherds make German. Well, they can mix them, but you know what I mean. Like all the German Shepherds look like a German Shepherd, and you could put 10 German Shepherds there, and if you're not really like looking at them good enough, you couldn't tell them apart. You know, the same with like dolphins. Like they probably have little differences that we wouldn't even know, but if you put 100 dolphins there and then gave them names, could you, you know, go back and see, you know, could you like figure out which one you named first and all that? Only with people, it's different. Like, I mean, everybody is so different. You know what I mean? Like, we're the same. We're humans, 5 fingers, 5 toes, a nose, 2 eyes, all that. But only, you know, everything is so different. I didn't see anyone out of all the people in Walmart that looked the same at all. And even from a distance, that like I knew, like I was looking at what I was looking at from, you know, say 20 yards or 30 yards or 40 yards. But when you get in the woods and you start seeing Bigfoot, I've seen a few now, and they pretty much are the same. You know what I mean? Like one was really big, really big, but it basically like it had fur, and they all had fur, and they were. I didn't see very much skin on them. All the ones I saw were black, jet black. I haven't seen any brown ones or white. Well, I take back. I seen the white one. I seen video of that one, but in fact, I seen 2 white ones on YouTube now. I don't know if they're the same one, but I know one of them's really real, and I don't know about the other one because the one that I know is real came from around here, and I've been hearing about him for 20 years easy. And finally somebody got a quick picture of him, but only it's not good enough to share with everyone. You know what I mean? It's like if I share that, everybody's going to be going, "Are you kidding? You know, how come you can only take 11 seconds?" 11 seconds is all that he gave me, you know. And actually I wasn't even the one that took it. Like, I want to know how many people are ready with their camera. Like, I walked around with my camera. I had it on the whole time. That way, if anything happened, it was already on and everything, and I was turning it with me, and I was even worried, like I didn't want to make you all sick. So I was like trying to move in slow motion so the camera didn't go, like all around and cause you guys to get vertigo or something. But only I had it on the whole time, and then I had to figure out how to cut it down to where it would be like not the same thing over and over and over, even though it was a little bit that in the little short time that I made. Isn't all part of the 4 types of Sasquatches. Dogman is one of the 4. I'm not even sure if Dogman is related to him. Like if we're speaking biologically. Okay. If we're speaking biologically, even if they're biologically, I don't think they're related biologically either, but I think there is something that relates them, and this is kind of like what I was getting at. There is one thread of something that they all have in common, and you named it right there. Amanda's right. Nephilim. You win the prize. In fact, Tony Spirit Feather, he told me he's sending a flute. I can't remember the description, but it plays well in the key of G, and he's gonna send it. And I think I'm gonna auction it. These are handmade, one of a kind flutes. Beautiful. But let me get back to Nephilim. I believe they're Nephilim, or related to the Nephilim somehow, or you know what I mean. Like the part I'm not figuring out very well when it comes to that is the biological part. Like they poop, they eat, they bleed if somebody shoots them. I think, even though I haven't seen a dead one yet, I'm torn right there. Like, could there be a biological thing out there that we don't know about? And that's what I started looking for, was what I saw. A creature that looked flesh and blood. It was big. It ran like the wind. It was like a ninja, like a forest ninja. And see, now the more that I learned, putting it into the ninja area, first I didn't know they were like ninjas. That's something that came with time and experience. It was like, okay, these guys are like, because I studied martial arts when I was younger for a long time, and one of the things, that we all wanted to be was like Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee. We wanted to be a ninja, you know what I mean? Like, poof, we're gone, just throwing the shurikens everywhere, yeah. But as when you get out there, and then it's like Ron Moorhead said, you start off and you're thinking about it in earth terms, you know what I mean, like the way we are. That's how you're thinking, like if you think of it like another animal or mammal or whatever. But then as you go out there, the more that you put yourself out there with them, the more you start realizing there's more than the animal biological, even though that seems like it's a part of it, it's not all of it. You know what I mean? There's another part of them that's like supernatural, like scary. Because I mean, now when you think of it, like when you think of it like cloaking, like say like Matthew Johnson talks about, they're in the trees, and he said, okay, so you don't have to go Sasquatching or Bigfooting anymore. I mean, you don't have to go anywhere. Do you have a tree in your yard? I do. Do you have trees in a park down the street? Does your neighbor have a tree? I mean, they could be in the tree, inside the tree. And according to him, they are. And they're all around. And they could be all around you. And they're not really Bigfoots, they're orbs. But they just take the shape of a Bigfoot because I'm not sure why, you know. If they could take any shape in the world, do you think they might want to take a shape of a human and just fit in? Like, I never could, I don't know. So, like, anybody could go Sasquatching anywhere now, like in your backyard. Just grow a mulberry tree or something, you know, or an elm or anything, a tree, and they'll live in it, and you could have your own interaction with your own Bigfoot in your own backyard. Yeah. But only you can't discount everything he says, because I know he experienced these things, because he just experienced more of it than me. I've experienced some of that stuff too. And Ron Moorhead experienced some of it. I mean, I loved Ron Moorhead's book so much because he put into terms um, what, like, some of the questions I had. Like, making him interdimensional, that made him the Nephilim. You know what I mean? Now I'm starting. I think I'm onto something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I could read about the Nephilim, and I can learn about those. They're written about for hundreds and thousands of years. And when you start when you start learning about all these other things, then you start realizing, wait a minute, you know, these guys, they're not saying they're Nephilim or Anunnaki or anything like that. They say they're a Bigfoot or an alien or this or that, but only all the things, that the capabilities that the Anunnaki have, I should say, these things have that too. They can do that too. And I think that I think that there's enough people now out looking. Like, before there wasn't. There was a handful of people around the world researching these things, and now we have groups. I mean, go on Facebook. How many groups are there? There's hundreds. I mean, there's probably thousands of people. I bet there's a million game cameras in North America alone. And I'm talking about all the way from Alaska, Canada, United States. But I bet there's a million of them out there, and and I and not very many of them are capturing pictures. And if they are, these people aren't sharing them. And I hope that people do share them, right? Because I hope that my YouTube channel reaches out to the people, and let's share what we're learning so that we can really learn what in the world are we dealing with. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know really bad. I want to be in the Squatch zone and figure it out. Yep. Yeah, the psychics and able to mess with some people's heads. I believe they can, like, especially if I believe that they can mess with people, especially to people that are more open to it. But when they come against me, I don't think I'm that open to it. You know what I mean? Like I already wrestled with demons in Africa. Straight up. I'm going to tell you right now, there's demons, and I wrestle with them. And I found out there's a name called Jesus that scares the you know what right out of them, and they will leave. And if they even start attacking you, that's all you have to do is say that one word, and they will flat get the heck out of here. You know, I've used it so many times over the years that, and now as I'm researching Bigfoot, I'm also learning about this Jesus and the name, and I'm researching all of everything. You know what and I'm coming across all these things and going in haunted houses and demon possessions and all this stuff, and I get to try out, researching all this stuff. I get to try out everything. Like, if Jesus' name didn't work, I wouldn't be telling you to use it because I don't want him to eat your lunch or eat you for lunch. Yeah, that's it. I never had to use it on Bigfoot because Bigfoot never came after me. But if he did, I would try it. I'm sure I would. It says, let's see, in Ashland, I took pics with my family, and some have orange orbs. In Ashland, Oregon, I love that city or town. It says they're probably just good at camouflage. They're just creatures, part of the evolutionary chain. I don't believe in supernatural stuff personally, but I respect your beliefs. I didn't say they were. I just said they do stuff that they do stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, do you go out in the woods a lot checking on them and stuff like that? Do you track them? Have you ever tracked them to the point, like, into an open area, and then their tracks end? And for 50 yards, 60 yards, 100 yards, all the way around, there's no other track. Just the tracks you followed in. And then there they end, right in the middle of a big open area. And there's nowhere for them to step to not leave a track. But there's no more tracks. And there's no Bigfoot. It's like, where did he go? Stuff like that. I don't know what to believe. I don't even know what happened to him. Did he disappear? Did Alien pick him up? Does he have the ability to fly too? Like, I don't know. I don't know. And then I know there's other stuff. Like, there like a while back, about three years ago. I mean, this is going to sound really weird, but I have a friend that he would probably come on and chat with me, and he was with me when we saw it. But we saw something that was as big as a Cessna airplane. It had wingspan of a Cessna. Its body was as big as a Cessna, as long as a Cessna. It had red eyes, almost this color, just a little bit brighter red, that were like this big. And I looked at it with binoculars, flying over me. And as it went by me, it turned its head around and it looked at me like that. So I knew it was alive. At first I thought it was some kind of radio controlled thing, drone or something, But when it actually, it turned its wings into the wind and scooped wind, and I never saw it flap its wings either. That was the weird part. It didn't need, and the wings looked like it couldn't even hold it up anyways. They only looked like this wide, right? And it didn't look like it would give it enough lift for that size of this hairy beast thing to be up there. But when it turned its wings and looked at me, I knew it was something that was like, it wasn't some kind of robot drone thing. It was alive, whatever it was. And the guy that was with me, he started saying, "It's looking at you, not me, looking at you, So, that's how come I have such problems with sticking on one belief. You know what I mean? I don't know what to believe. I'm wide open, tell you. I know there's more to the story. That's why I think. Does the Bigfoot have dreads? He has a beard and a doob. Yeah. I have some other stuff. I'm going to change what I have behind me all the time. I'm not going to get elaborate like Jeff and have some big, studio with all kinds of stuff, even though I do think that's pretty neat. And I seen where in chat, I was reading the chat, and the guy that made the triangle for Jeff, that is cool, man. That I love that triangle. I don't know if I could use one because I'm not going to make any elaborate studio or anything, but I'll help you sell them. I seen that you were going to make them and sell them. I'll help you sell them if you want to sell them. You know what? I'll, you know, I don't know if Jeffrey would do that, but I will. Yeah. Okay, let's see. It's more than a name. Oh, yeah. Don't worry about pushing religion on me. I actually worry about that. Like, I don't want to run anybody off because I say Jesus or something like that, or I believe one way or the other. I just want people to realize that we don't know. You know what I mean? And so test everything. Like, question everything. Always be looking up because you never know what you're going to see. But test it, test it. Like I was lucky enough to be able to research and in the paranormal field for a while now, like a decade. And I didn't just do Bigfoot. That's just my favorite one because I had the most questions about it. It's the most elusive. It's not in your face, you know what I mean? Like aliens are kind of, I mean, like you see the ships and stuff like that. They're also another elusive thing, but they lie. I mean, people have contact with them and they lie all the time. And when people tell the stories, like I get to be lucky enough that I get to talk with a lot of different people. I get to talk with people that just seen saucers or triangles. Like I talked, the guy that works at the market by my house, he saw me on TV. So he's like, hey, man, I saw you on TV. I'm like, yeah, And he says, so you go looking for Bigfoots? And I told him, yeah. He goes, what do you think about flying saucers? I told him, I think they're real. He goes, what about triangles? I go, I think they're real too. I don't really understand how they fly. I don't understand, like I don't know everything about them, but I know they're real. Just like I know Bigfoot's real. And I know they have certain things they do, like triangles are low and slow. And then all of a sudden they can pop in and out like a Bigfoot, they can disappear and appear. But that's what I told him. And then he starts telling me this amazing story where he's in town. Him and his wife walk around a track at a school near their house. And, it's like a quarter mile. So they could go 8 times around or whatever. And it's 2 miles. And there's lights, it's dark and there's lights. And dang, man, the heater came on. It's like hot in here. And they're walking along, and all of a sudden his wife says, hey, look at that light. And he looks up and sees this red blinking light. And he's like, "Oh, I see it. I see it. What is that? A red UFO?" And she said, "No. Look at the ship. That's just the light." So then, he like really looks differently than, the first glance, and he realizes that there's this huge, like a mile long or a mile wide ship, completely black, right over him, and like right over the lights of the track that they're walking on. And there, and then he was like, wow, and how he described it to me. He says, like if he opened up a newspaper and held it out like right in front of him, it would be wider than the newspaper. So it was like, wow, that's big. And he said it was moving really, really slow, and it didn't make any noise whatsoever. It was like, wow, like, that's cool. That is so neat. Now, he's not the only one I've heard tell me that now. I mean, people stop me now all the time. A lot of times in Walmart, I get trapped. I'll be stuck in I'll be in the camping session or in the camping section or sitting at the McDonald's, and people will walk by and go, "Hey, wow, I seen you," and then they start asking me questions. And usually they're asking me questions to feel me out, like if I'm going to make fun of them, or once they realize I'm not, then they come out with the most incredible stories. And that's what I want to happen. That's what I want to happen on this YouTube channel, because I think that these incredible stories, I believe everyone. And I'm not an expert, okay? I don't know it all. I don't. I only know what people tell me, and some of it doesn't make sense and some of it does. But I am on a quest to learn everything I can about the supernatural things. And I put myself in the way of it. You know what I mean? Like, I went out in traffic and I'm out dodging all the cars trying to figure out, everything coming at me. And it sometimes it feels like it's coming really fast. You know what I mean? And it goes by so quick you can't get a good description and stuff like that. And so that's why I'm here, and that's why I like to sit and talk about it. Like here's Eddie. He saw a triangle black ship in North Tulare flying slow and low. Everybody that I talk to that tells me about triangles, slow or low and slow is what I say, low and slow. And I think I figured out why they are low. Because if they're low, okay, like if they're really high, okay, like okay, say the thing is, way up. That means that more people can see it because it's way up there. Okay. Now when it's low, when it passes over you and your house, you might see it for like, if you're in a neighborhood, you'll only see it for just maybe another few seconds, and then it's gone, even though it's going slow. And then you're going to have to maneuver around or run down the block or whatever to see it again. And I think that's why they do that. And then a lot of times people tell me that sometimes they're blinking in and out, or like they're there and then they're disappear, and then they're there and then they disappear, and it's almost like they're not functioning properly. You know what I mean? They're like blinking in and out, kind of like. And I find that really interesting. And it says, okay. It says, I just don't understand why the trend is they all stay hidden from. You know what? I don't know why they all hide from us either. That makes me even question it more. Doesn't it make you question it more? Like, Okay, we all know they're there. Why don't they come out? Like, what are they hiding? Why do they have to hide? Like, what? Why does it have to be like that? That part. I mean, like, I don't get the hiding part either at all. Says, have you ever been to San Francisco, the Exploratorium, old location? You would pose and wait for a light flash? A cigar chrome on UFO south of Visalia or north of Tulare. Dude, you're right in the place. Tulare, Visalia, Merced. I mean, all up and down the 99, these triangles and UFOs fly around. That's how come when Jeff starts the show, his Paranormal Central show, he says we're in the bottom corner of the Nevada Triangle. And what that means is there's a triangle that runs. We're in one section of it. You could look it up on Google. It's like the Nevada Triangle. And I think Fresno's like the bottom corner, or actually Tulare or Visalia is like the edge. But it runs like all through the Sierras and into Nevada and all that. And that's why he starts the show like that, because we're in this area where this happens a lot. And when you put yourself out there like I do, and you let people laugh at you and make fun of you, and some people hate me over what they think I believe one way or the other, or this or that, or I'm going to preach to them or anything like that. But when you're out there and you put yourself out there, people, they're more open. You know what I mean? Once they realize that everything's cool, they're more open, and they're willing to talk to me about it. And I think everybody should not be afraid. I think a lot of people have stories and stuff. Like, you guys are starting to open up on the chat. I mean, there's orbs. There's this one. We went on a call. This girl called, and it was out in, they call it Snake Road over here, okay? And they have some property over by there. And she was coming home late, and they owned, quite a bit of property, like 600 acres or something like that. And she came home, and she has to open up a gate to get in to her property. And as she was opening up the gate, she realized that right above her was a triangle, but it wasn't huge, like, a mile wide or anything. It was only like 50 feet or 70 feet wide. Still big, but not huge like the ones some of them are reporting. And it was, she said, like, about the height of a large pine tree above her. And she quickly got in her car. She left the gate open. She didn't get back out to close the gate, and she drove to the house, and she got out of the car. But by the time she had got to the car, she said it moved like a blink. It was, and this is pretty far. I would say it was like 2 football fields, maybe 2.5 football fields. So it went from the gate to the house in a blink, and then it was just hovering right over where she had to go, like into her house. She had to go under it, and she did. I mean, she ran in her house, and that was the last time she saw it. But there was some other stuff going on out there besides that. I mean, like their shop was haunted. So we were like, and then, while we're out there and we're interviewing her and interviewing the guy that works in the shop, then the guy that works out in the fields, he comes by and he's just listening, right? And he starts telling us, he starts asking them, are you going to tell them about the animals? And we're like, animals? What animals? And he starts telling us about these creatures, like dog things, werewolves or whatever, that he sees running around out in the fields. That they run really fast, and they're low to the ground. And he said they move so fast that if you don't see them directly, like, you miss it. Like, if you could catch them at the corner of your eye, but if you hardly could see it, it's like a blur. But you've seen something out of the corner of your eye. But sometimes they'll be moving across your vision, and you'll actually see it. But they move really quick. So I mean, it's like there is so much stuff going on. I am so intrigued. I love this stuff. You know what I mean? I probably won't sleep thinking about some of it. I'm starting to get used to it a little bit, but it still gets to me sometimes. And Amanda, let me see. You say a blue light, was a blue white light, like the moonlight. It was low to your left. The moon was low to my left, light above my car. This was years ago. So that's what you're talking about, where that's another thing that's kind of weird about alien and UFO sightings and stuff like that, or lights or orbs. One thing that's kind of weird about it is the people don't talk about it. And they don't even know why they don't talk about it. It's like they don't even think about talking about it. And they don't even talk about it amongst themselves. You know what I mean? It's really weird. It's like a strange phenomenon when you start talking to these people. But then when they do talk about it, like, especially like one of them wants to talk about it, okay, but they don't tell the other people they want to talk about it. So the one person calls, or gets a hold of you, or runs into you and says, hey, and they finally meet somebody they can talk about it, and, says, meet me at my house at a certain time. And then you go over there, and the other people, first they act angry because there's somebody over there that's talking about that. But then all of a sudden the floodgates open and they all want to talk about it. And it's almost like you could tell when they do talk about it, it's like this big weight came off of them. You know what I mean? And I like that part too. I like to hear all the stories and try to figure out what's going on and see if I can't put this big puzzle together. But I also like helping people. Like, it feels good when you can help someone that has something bottled up in them, or something weighing down on them, and they don't talk to anyone about it, and then they can freely tell you anything and it doesn't matter, and they just like let it all pour out when they realize, and sometimes it gives me tears, because I realize how touched, how much of a burden or whatever these people are carrying around, and I unlocked it somehow and let it free, and it makes me feel good. I mean, I'm not like patting myself on the back. I'm just saying that that's one of the good things about like learning about these things is, they have someone they can tell now, and all of a sudden they're free of that they're alone or whatever, and scared and all that stuff. And most of the time it's like, oh, you mean I'm not crazy? Like, nope, you're not. Oh, you mean I'm not the only one? Like, nope, you're not the only one either. And it's like a relief to them because they actually think they're alone in the world with this experience, and really they're not. It's really fun to figure that out and help them figure it out. In fact, a lot of the people that I've talked to over the years are still my friends now. I mean, they became really good friends, and they stay in contact. Like the one that I went out with on my Bigfoot field trip. We're interviewing him about an abduction or several abductions, really like trippy ones. And he became my friend, really good friend. We talk all the time, and that's why he wanted to take me out and show me, and like show me the areas, and it helps him to remember because sometimes on this alien stuff they don't remember. Like his friend that was there's actually three of them. One passed away. The other one, he still is like being abducted and everything still, and he's like not dealing with it well. You know what I mean? Like he was telling me, he's like, you won't believe what happened to, I won't say his name, I'll call him Ed. You won't believe what happened to Ed. He was having all this trouble where the aliens were abducting him like crazy, like all the time. So he moved. And you know where he moved? He moved to the hills, like in a more rural area. Like, so did they put that idea in his head? Like that's what me and my friend were talking about. Like, did they put the idea in his head to get him in a more of an area where they could have more access to him, easier access? That they might not get seen like they would in a neighborhood. They have to be more careful or cloaky or whatever you want to call it. I mean, like those kind of things make me wonder. That will keep me awake all night. Those kind of thoughts, like, did they put that in his head, or did he think of it of himself? And when he was out looking for it, was he running? What was he feeling and thinking and all that? I mean, I don't know, but if I was being alien abducted, the last place I would go is to a rural area. I would want to be in an apartment building, even though I know that doesn't help either. They'll put you right through the window, bed and all, or whatever. Yeah, kind of weird. It says, I had a weird encounter with a large black German Shepherd type dog. See, there you go. Now we're talking about like that guy was telling me that was just sitting on your dresser, and it jumped at you from across the room, disappeared just before it got to me. So freaky. Dude, that is, but you're not the only one I heard that from, of those things. And I've heard of it being cats, spiders, lots of different little kind of things like that. The one that freaks me out the most when people start talking about it, and you would think it would be Bigfoot, but it's not. It's reptilians. When the story of them coming out of the closet or out from under your bed or something, like watch out, the monsters are under your bed or in your closet or something. These things have portals that usually are in like a closet or something, and they know that it's almost like they intentionally put it there, and they go in and out through out the bedroom, and people wake up and there's these like 7-8 foot tall reptilian beings with tails and everything standing over them, and they're like ripped, like they look like a Bigfoot ripped, but they're a lizard ripped, but they stand right over him, and sometimes they do nasty things too, like choke the people out and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, that's not the first I've heard of that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm sure there are lots of stories about Las Vegas hotel experiences. Every time I spend the night at a hotel, I have Yeah. Did I ever tell you guys? Man, there's a local hotel here. Man, I don't know if I should tell this story. It might get me in a lot of trouble. Um, Man, I think I better clam up on this one, man. I better check and see if I could talk about it. I think I can, though. My son doesn't work there anymore. But this one's like creepy, man. Oh my god, you know. But there's a local hotel that is on a reservation. And my son was I know as soon as I said reservation though, that narrows it down a lot, but um that's integral to part of the story though. And my son was he was the head of security, and the front desk got a call asking for a band-aid. So, they called him and they said, take this band-aid up to room whatever. And he goes up there and he knocks on the door and nobody answers, and he knocks again and says security with your band-aid, and nobody opens the door. He's like, gets on his radio and he tells the dispatcher there's, nobody's answering. I guess they don't need the band-aid anymore. And he gets all the way back down out on the floor and he's doing whatever he's doing, and then they call him again. They say, hey, we got a call for that band-aid again. Same room. So yeah. Wink wink. He goes up to the room and knocks on the door and nobody answers, and he gets on the radio and he tells them there's there's nobody answering the door, like, if they call again, tell them, they got to come down and get their own band-aid after that. So he gets on the floor, but only the whole thing has been bothering him now for a little while. Like, it's weird that anybody would call for a band-aid twice. I mean, a band-aid once is weird, but only twice is really weird. And then not answer the door is even more weird to him. And when you're like security or that kind of thing, you're inquisitive about things like that. So he went to the front desk and he asked them to look that room up and see who's in it, and to ring the room once they looked it up. Well, there wasn't anybody in that room. That room was empty and hadn't been rented for, several days. So they're like, whoa, okay, now that's weird, that's really weird. So they went with a card. They have the key cards now, not keys. Gave him a key card, and him and another guard went up there, and they went in, knocked first. Nobody answered, nobody. And then, we're going to open the door, and nobody said anything. So then they opened the door and they went in. There was blood everywhere. There was blood all over the walls. There was puddles of blood in the carpet. Puddles, like, not only was it in the carpet, it was soaked up as high as puddle-like. All over the bathroom there was blood, and there was like handprints and stuff like that too. They freaked out, and they called the sheriff, and the sheriff came out. And then, when my son was telling me that, I asked him, I go like, okay, so when the sheriff showed up, you guys got out of there, right? And he's like, yeah. And then you waited for the sheriff before you went back in. He's like, yeah. I told him, when you went back in, it was all back to normal, right? He's like, no, they had to close that room off and clean it all up. And they still, to this day, from what I understand, don't know what happened in that room. And you could stay in that room if you knew what the number was, because they're renting it again now that it's all redone, new carpet and all that. So, yeah, that is weird. But see, it's stuff like that. That's what keeps me. Uh, that's what keeps me interested in all this stuff. Like that's really weird, and that's like unexplainable. You know what I mean? Like it's like the Bigfoot thing. It's like the alien. They're all. It is intriguing to me, and I won't stop my pursuit, even if nobody calls me or anything. I'll keep coming on and sharing everything that I find on my on my YouTube channel, whether anybody calls me or not. I'm almost ready for calls. I think I could do Skype right now. I think. I haven't tried it yet. I've been so busy putting all this stuff all together and making it all work. I haven't got it all the way, but only I want people to call and share their stories, because I think everybody has a story. Everyone is like the dog sitting on his dresser and then jumped at him, the orbs following you around, the UFO. Everybody has a story. Everybody. There's nobody that doesn't have a story. And if you get enough of these stories together, it's like a puzzle. When you lay it out, 1,500 pieces on the table. At first, it makes no sense whatsoever, because it's all jumbled up, and nothing's together. But then little bit by little bit, you find a piece that fits together, and you stick them together, and pretty soon you start seeing a picture form, and then you have an idea. Whoa, it kind of looks like that. But still, there's still that whole rest of the puzzle still not put together. And I want to put all that puzzle together, and I want to like look at the picture of it, and I don't even care if everybody even knows. I mean, this is only, I just want to know. You know what I mean? Like, and then I want to share it with everyone, sure, because I mean, everybody needs to know the truth, right? The truth, not what people think, not what people feel. It has to be what real, like, what's the truth. But yeah. Yeah, but the picture is big. Yeah, when you start adding Bigfoot and aliens and UFOs and orbs and Shadow Man, the Hat Man. Oh my God, the Hat Man. The Hat Man. My own family, like a bunch of my own family, have seen the Hat Man, and all over the United States. You know what I mean? Like they live everywhere, all over. So it's weird when I first started getting into this, that was one of the first things they wanted to talk about, because I mean, they don't go in the woods very much, but when they realized that I wasn't just all about Sasquatch, and I wanted to talk about everything paranormal or supernatural, they want to talk about their experience, and their experience was the Hat Man, or the coat hat man, cowboy hat guy, or I mean, man, like a lot of stories about that one, and friends too. And then I didn't realize how pervasive this hat guy is, man. He's like all over the place. He gets around, and he's usually at night and in people's bedrooms too. And usually they only see him like out of the corner of their eye at first, but every once in a while you get a look at him like straight on, and when you're looking at him, you know that he knows that you see him. You know what I mean? Like, he gives you that feeling in you that he knows that you can see him, and you know that he's looking at you too. You know what I mean? Like, scary stuff, man. Yeah, the giants now, there's still giants right now out there. That this isn't just ancient history on the giants. I mean, there was more of them a long time ago, but there's some giants now like me and Jeff. I mean, I gotta get. I can't stay too long here. It's already been like. Well, I guess I could stay a little while longer. Because I'm having fun, and you guys are cool. You know, I've been reading the chat. You guys are like getting into it as much as I do, man. Yeah, the little people. Like, there's so many things, but the giants. Like, I have a friend on Facebook right now that shot one. He wasn't the only guy that shot one, but him and his troops shot one and killed one. And he realized that the government knew more than they were letting on. You know, they just thought there was some missing men, and they went to the last place they radioed, and then started follow. You know, they went to the last place they were radioed, and then they followed the trail and came in, and they found a giant. And they found the remains of their buddies, and broken equipment, rifles broken in half, bones and flesh all over the place. And he said it stunk like really bad. And he said the giant stunk really bad too. Really bad. And I mean, that dude just ran out and he said the shield, after they killed him, the shield took 3 guys to pick the shield up. That's big, man. That's a big dude. And this dude skewered their sergeant and lifted him up in the air, and then was trying to go after another one while they're shooting him, killing him. Like, wow, man. So they're still giants. Still giants. And you can look this one up. We actually interviewed the guy, and then when it got out, because, you know, when it got out, he didn't realize, but he signed a contract with some other people, and then for TV, and then he couldn't say anything anymore, and he couldn't be on our show anymore. And so we had to wait until his NDE was, you know, over before he could come and talk with us again. But I could talk with him long as I wasn't like doing it like publicly, you know what I mean? Like, me and him would still talk, but not, you know. But I'm telling you, they're still giants. And when you know these guys, though, yeah, the Kandahar. Yep, Kandahar giant. When you get to know these guys, that's when the other part of it comes in, that our government knows more than they say they do. And they may have made agreements with these alien things, and it isn't in our favor. It might be in their favor to line their pocket, you know what I mean? But it's not in our favor at all. And that's a whole nother show, let me tell you. And I don't even like calling this a show, but that's a whole nother chat time with us, you know. Another time that we're going to talk. Because, man, yeah, I've even heard of those, like the Lovelock Caves, and then there was some more found. I think it was Oklahoma or Alabama, somewhere over there, and you could even pay to go in and see them. And then when it got out, it started getting publicity and stuff like that. The government found out that was going on, and now you can't go see them. You know, it's really a trip. But yeah, and to me, like, I love this stuff. Like, I love this stuff, man. You guys, I love it. Even the giants, even the shadow government stuff, even all the conspiracy, like the chemtrails, and I mean, for sure it's chemtrails. My buddy that I went out with for the Bigfoot field trip, he just got back from Philippines, and he was there a month, and he was saying that he never really thought about chemtrails until he got back to America. And, and over there they spent a lot of time outside over there. So then he comes back over here, and the first thing he noticed was it wasn't clouds. He said that over there it was clear blue sky every day unless it was raining. There wasn't any, like jet trails. And he said he got over here, and like in the morning they would start the jet trails, and then by afternoon it was almost like kind of overcast, where these jet trails are like spreading out and spreading out and spreading out until it's like overcast. But he said that wasn't over there, that was here. And I actually think that some of that is probably causing problems for us. It is probably killing trees, like the ones I was showing on my video. I think that has a lot to do with it. Yeah, the Oregon caves. That's where Dr. Johnson saw his first Bigfoot, and he actually had the same reaction as me when he first saw it. Yeah, I want to meet him. Really, I wouldn't mind going squatching with him. I actually want to go up that way and go meet everybody up there, and because I'm not against what they're saying at all. I just I don't trust it. You know what I mean? It isn't that I don't trust Dr. Johnson. I trust him fully. I think that maybe he might be being duped. He might be duped by these guys telling lies, but only they made him special. Like he gets to be the spokesman for them to the humans, and that gives you a little bit of like clout or something, and so now you're gonna believe it because they made you the special one, and just because they could do really cool, neat stuff doesn't mean they're still telling you the truth. Yeah, I think this group can handle the information, but I believe like all the ones that watch football and keep like, you can, like, if you say like any kind of anything supernatural and they look at you like, what, get out of here, or they want to make fun of you right away, but only you could say something about the NFL or NBA or hockey or anything sports, and then they can tell you everything that happened ever since 1969 or whatever. Those guys can't handle the truth. They can't. They're stuck in their own little world. It's really sad. Yeah, man. I didn't realize how many dead trees either, and it was an eye opener for me and that's how come I kept videotaping it. It was like mile after mile, and we went like, I would say 30 miles down this. Once we got in the hills, and we turned down this one road, and we went 30 miles all the way. 30 miles, it was that way, and it went further, but instead of keep on going down. We turned around and went back the same way because we don't want to spend that much. He couldn't be gone that long. We did a 3-hour tour about like, yeah. I want to go. I want to go squatching with you. What area are you in? You're in Oregon, somewhere. Yeah, in this plan, like people will tell you, like when you start talking about the sports and stuff like that. Tennessee, ooh, I would love to go there. I know they're there though. I heard they're meaner there, Now, when you start talking about sports, and it goes back far, like, the NFL and all, but if you think about it, like, it this all could have been a plan and put all together, most of it for greed, but most, like, the second part, like, it's like a two-part thing: greed and also control. So, like, they're going to make money off it, and also they're going to control what people think and feel and all that and want, and it's almost a sick thing. Like when I my eyes open to it, I quit watching sports, all sports. And I love watching football and stuff, but I started seeing that, like, somewhere in the 80s, I started realizing that the refs were calling the game. I mean, it was like, what kind of call was that? And everybody would get mad and, and scream and shout at the TV, but I'm sitting back there, and then I realized, the team didn't get all freaked out. I mean, some of them would get angry, but they would keep on playing, and then it would do it again and do it again and do it again. And then if it wasn't for those calls, the other team really probably would have won. And I thought, you know what? That dude he just, that couldn't have been a mistake. He couldn't have, I think he had an agenda, And then I started seeing it in basketball, and I started seeing it in baseball, and I was like, wait a minute. And then it got so pervasive that, they're going to do, like, the replays, and you can look at the video and all that stuff. It's like, I had already stopped watching by then, but all my family, Raider fans and all that kind of stuff, like, Raider till I die, all, like, okay, whatever, I'm a Squatcher until I die. Yep. I'm in the Squatch zone to stay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm squatching till I die. Yeah. And I want to know about all the weird stuff, and they could have all their sports they want, because it's boring compared to what I get to do, Like, yeah. Like maybe I can make it to Tennessee and go out to Tennessee and go squatching with Amanda. That would be so cool. It really would. And I really got to get out of here, man. It's already like when I started, it was 10, and it's already after 12 here. So I've been on for like 2 hours. And well, I had some complications with my router first, but I'm glad I got past that. And so far, everything's been working right? Like, everything's green on my side, and I haven't seen it do any circles or anything. It hasn't given me any warnings. It says I have good health. Yeah. So, you guys, I really enjoyed the chat. You guys are so cool. And I enjoy everything squatchy and alieny and gianty and UFO-y and creepy, scary, everything that we don't know anything about hardly at all. I want to know. If you like what I'm doing and you think there might be other people, I mean, I feel dumb doing this. I don't know why, but like and subscribe and, whatever. You could do that. Mostly, it's like, buy the t-shirt in the top corner, right corner on all the videos, at least the last 4 or so. There's a little eye in a circle. If you click on that, it's going to go to a t-shirt that says Squatch Zone. I'm probably going to I'm probably going to get some different designs here pretty soon that I've been working on, and nothing like pictures or anything, but just sayings, because I'm not an artist. but I'll be adding some things, and I created a little store right there, and that's how, like, I need a new computer. I can't afford Comcast really, so I have to stick with ATT in this and what's going on. And I just want to upgrade everything and keep going and keep doing, and maybe afford to go squatching with Amanda and do things like that, and actually travel around with my camera all over the place. Like, I would love to go up where squatching with Bobo and all what you guys do. Like, I was watching all the cool videos and stuff like that. I think it was a face, I really do. But I wanna do that. So, like, instead of saying, "Oh, please send me," like, here's my. There is a donation thing though. Like, you can donate, because I know that there's a spirit behind that causes blessings on people, and I've experienced that in my life, raising 6 kids and some foster kids and all that, and helping people. I found out there's a lot to that. Like, when you give, especially like if you're doing it out of your heart and stuff, there it's like good karma, you know what I mean? It makes really good karma, and it does happen. So if that is on your mind, I'm not going to tell you not to, and I appreciate it, but you don't have to. You could buy some shirts, and that way you get something, and then go take selfies. Like, once you have your shirt and your mug or whatever, take some selfies with it, and I'm going to hold some contests and stuff, and we'll, because I used to be the marketing director at the casino. I want to, like, do fun stuff, okay? Like, I used to give away, I know the casino is financing it, but I've given away cars and cash and thousands of t-shirts and mugs and little, what I called trinkets and trash, but, like coffee mugs and travel bags and you name it, man. Anything that could hold a logo for a casino, I gave it away, and thousands of them. I used to have this big wheel, and everybody would line up. I mean, the line, like, would be, I would go to a ball game, a professional ball game. I would sponsor the team, and then I would go out there and park my car that I was giving away, and I would give away tickets, like, and the casino would say, only give them 2 tickets, per person. And my signage would say only 2 tickets per person. And then I would walk up to you and go, hey, man, how many tickets you want? To give you like 50. Oh, you need more than that? I'll give you another 50. I was giving away like candy to everybody, because I knew 2 tickets, that's not enough to get you to the casino. You need more. If you have 50 chances to win that Corvette I got parked right there, and say you went every week to the game, then I was going to be out there every week, and I gave you 50 tickets every time, and then you did take them up there, and now you have like 600 chances to win that car, you're going to be at the casino, and you're going to be every single time I gave you the tickets. So the casino wins, right? Because you can't go to a casino without spending money. You're going to eat, or you're going to gamble, or you're going to do both, So I like to have fun, but only this time I'm not on the casino's dime. So I got to be a little more creative, which isn't very difficult. I'll just, like, put out some stuff that you guys can buy, and it'll help me, and hopefully we get more and more people, and it'll just be easy. And then I can come to your town and squatch with you. I can come to your town and interview you, and I can't wait for those kind of things. And you can call me, and once I get all that together, I'll be testing the Skype out probably tomorrow or the next day, and then Friday going out on another field trip, and I'll bring that. It might take me a couple days to edit, because I don't want to turn the camera off, you know what I mean, while I'm out there, because it's all the times that I went out over the years, every time we turn, like, it's like this. When you're talking, that's when the Bigfoot's talking. And then when you shut up, the Bigfoot shuts up. Like, when you're walking, that's when the Bigfoot's walking. As soon as you stop, he stops. But you hear it, like, for just a split second, he takes one more step. As soon as you start walking again, he starts walking again. So it's like, while you're talking, he's making noise. But as soon as you stop talking, he stops making noise. So it's got to be like, I learned every time, like when you have the camera on, nothing's happening, right? As soon as you turn the camera off, that's when something happens. Very rarely are you able to get the camera back up and on before it's over. So now it's going to be camera on all the time. I got extra batteries. I got extra SD cards. The only time I'm going to turn it off while I'm on a field trip is to change the cards and the batteries. That's it. Because I'm going to catch everything. But the other side of that, and I also turned it up. So this last video, I realized my camera wasn't set to the highest settings. So this time my camera will be set on the highest settings, so it'll eat up the SD card faster, but I have extras. So if anything, I'll go all the way until I don't have SD cards or batteries or whatever. But it's going to stay on as long as possible while I'm out. But now the other side of it is when I bring it back, the editing. You know, if you're out for 3 or 4 hours and you have 3 or 4 hours of video, I'm not going to like load that up on YouTube, but I might cut it down to like, say 20 minutes or something like that and try to get the high points and put them on there. But yeah, so have I ever thought of a meetup? Oh, Amanda, you guys, you have entered the Squatch zone. That's gonna be a saying, Dire Wolf. I'm gonna make that a saying, man. You have entered the Squatch zone. I thought about that. Do you think they'll sue me for that? Like do. No. All right, you guys. Well, I'm starting to ramble now. It's starting to get late. I could sit here and chat with you all night. Really, I really could. Like, maybe one day I'll do a marathon. We'll start out like earlier in the evening and we'll go until midnight or something like that, my time or your time. Maybe I could start real early and go to midnight on the East Coast time or something like that. And we'll just have a really good time and talk about anything you guys want to talk about, because I like talking about it and learning from you. So I hope you all have a good week. I know we're like in the middle of the week now, but have a really good week. I hope you sleep. And if you think of anything really cool, let me know on the next chat. And we'll see ya.